Another Taiwanese labelled as a separatist by Beijing is DPP legislator Puma Shen. China has escalated its October campaign targeting Shen by releasing a Chinese CCTV report calling for Shen's global arrest through Interpol. In late October, the Chongqing Municipal Public Security Bureau had opened that investigation into Shen for separatist activity centred on his Puma Academy, which offers training courses for civilians in the event of a Chinese invasion of Taiwan. The CCTV report ends with this.
收手吧，否则下一个是你。
Marcin, what do you make of this? Is it an escalation on the part of Beijing towards Taiwanese? Would Interpol arrest Shen?
I would like to see this instance of intimidation campaign targeting Puma Shen as a piece of a bigger puzzle that China is trying to complete as it tries to instrumentalize the global law enforcement cooperation institutions. So when it comes to Taiwan's exclusion from the United Nations system, one of the most renowned examples is its exclusion from the World Health Assembly. But another body in which Taiwan used to enjoy an observer status and no longer does so is the Interpol. We are actually gearing up for the 93rd Global Assembly of Interpol on November 24th to 27th. Taiwan is once again not given a seat at the table. And Interpol is an extremely important or a body for China precisely because Beijing sees it as a tool, for instance, for perpetuating its transnational repression. The importance of Interpol to China is also further illustrated by the fact that for the first time, Hong Kong, now under Iron Fist rule of Beijing, will for the first time ever host the 94th Global Assembly of Interpol next year. So to bring it all back to Puma Shen, this is just a part of China's broader political warfare campaign. It is another example of China's lawfare, a critical element of its free warfare's doctrine of political warfare, elaborated in the in the beginning of the century. So Puma Shen is just one pawn in this bigger game that China is playing with Interpol.
Ambassador, I mean, are Taiwanese intimidated by this kind of thing?
No, I don't think so. Because no any single Taiwanese will be subject to the Chinese legal jurisdiction. Let alone that they mentioned about Interpol. But I have to emphasize one thing here, that the Interpol itself does not have the authority to arrest anyone. It's not a police force. It's simply, it has no agents to carry out for law enforcement, but it serves as a coordination and the information sharing body among the member countries of the police agencies. So Interpol is actually an administration. It's not a police force.
So is it down to those individual member countries who have relations with China then?
Yeah, it does.
Do you see this kind of thing escalating and expanding?
We are definitely seeing an expansion of China's lawfare campaign. The anti-secession law as such was passed in 2005. So it was a form of response by the PRC to what they saw as de-Sinicization and excessive Taiwanization of this polity under former President Chen Shui-bian. Last year, we saw the publication of concrete articles that have sort of allowed an operationalization of that anti-secession law. And to this end, I believe that China is looking at it at its existing instruments as well as devising new ones to deepen the instrumentalization of its domestic and international legal tools to achieve its objectives of intimidation and repression. But in general, I believe that there is clearly a threat that countries that are more dependent on political and economic support from China would fall in line and act on, let's say, an Interpol Red Notice that might be issued against someone like legislator Shen. Legislator Shen family has business interests in Ecuador, for example, and given the importance of fossil fuel diplomacy between Quito and Beijing, Ecuador has fallen quite firmly into Beijing's pocket. So in general, these types of activities, at the very least, make people ask themselves, second-guess themselves, if they can travel, if they can meet their families, if they can attend international events, and so on.
Ambassador, final question to you. So what can Taiwan do about this?
I'm afraid that, to be honest, there are not much, that can be done by the Taiwanese government, except for some maybe a negotiation or communication between the two sides, between Taipei and Beijing. But so far, I think, the Interpol has also several member states, which are the Taiwanese diplomatic allies. We can spread the words around those countries in Interpol. So let them pass our message. China, although they have the power, more power than Taiwan, but I think still they have a certain limit. So let's wait and see.